hey, I came up with this idea.
And even my parents didn't know what I'm doing. What is the starting point?
Let's start at the beginning, audit, where you are, who are you?
Are you coaching me?
Yeah.
You are an early riser.
Yeah, but I'm also an early bedder.
He said, I looked at Instagram, I didn't find you. I looked on Snapchat, I didn't find you. I looked here, where are you?
I've set up LinkedIn.
Welcome to another episode of Lasting Impressions. As you are used to it now, we host different guests from different fields and different industries who are creating lasting impressions around them. And today, I have a very special guest with me. I actually met her 21 years ago. Yes, it feels like it's another life. And this guest is creating a lot of amazing lasting impressions in her field, which is a very high demand field in our days in personal branding. Today, I welcome the beautiful Kelly Lundberg with me.
Thank you for having me. This is so nice. And it's lovely how it comes full circle again. I love that Dubai has people that are here for a long period of time. And it's like, we were 20 years ago, and it's so good.
And you know what's beautiful about it? Is witnessing your success and your growth across these years.
Thank you.
So, Kelly, you are a personal brand strategist, speaker, and author. Congratulations for your book, by the way, another book.
Yeah.
And as well, you are the founder of BrandYOU Creators. But what do you actually do if you have to explain personal branding strategist in one sentence? What is that?
I help entrepreneurs and I guess C-suite executives become more visible on and offline. And a great way of putting it would be, it's how do they make people feel? You want to leave people with that lasting impression. I like to call it memorable leadership. And your personal brand, whether you're an executive or an employee, is how am I memorable for the right reasons?
Yeah.
And if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, you want to be memorable so that people can come back and buy your product or service. Because not everyone's ready to buy what you're offering today.
Yeah.
So it's always being in someone's mind to go, yes, when I'm ready for it, I will come back to that. So that was longer than a sentence.
And why do you actually do what you do? I'm not going to ask you what got you there because I know. And you talk about this all the time in your podcast. But I would like to know, why do you do what you do? Because you seem to do it so passionately.
And I love it. And you know what? It's really effortless.
Yeah.
I love the organic way it actually came about, and I think that will explain why I do it. Was someone in business who ran a really successful business came to me and said, I've seen how you've grown. She didn't use the words personal brand at the time, but she was doing a TEDx talk. You've done a TEDx talk. Can you help me with mine? I want to have a website like you do. I want to do more speaking engagements. I want to get in the press more. Like all those things that you've done, can you help me? Yeah, absolutely. And I'd sold my styling agency, maybe 3 years before that. So it was kind of perfect timing or 2 years before that. So it was this natural kind of, I was helping stylists, but I was helping mentoring entrepreneurs. But this whole personal brand piece pre-COVID was just starting to explode. And I was like, wow, I can really help someone with their visibility, really, is what it comes down to. And when I looked back at my business career, I would say that there was a big defining moment in that when I realized, my business is one thing and my personal brand is another. And that was when I got the phone call from Harvey Nichols. So setting the scene, I ran a celebrity styling agency, and Harvey Nichols asked for me to come and host a big event for them. And they asked me, could you send your photographs so we could promote the event, your logo so we can create some collateral, and your bio so we have it so we can put it out to media. And I sent that to them. And they said, I'm afraid we can't use that. And my initial thought was, was it not
up to the standards?
Yes, absolutely. Was it not designer enough? And they were like, no, it's fine. It's your business. We need your logo. We need your bio.
Yeah.
Because all I had was Kelly's the founder of the styling agency, and it was all about the business, not about me. And it was a real aha going, okay, it won't be just these people that want to work with me. There'll be other people that don't want to work with the business.
Yeah.
it will be a personal thing. And media, whenever you get invited on a podcast, you didn't say, can BrandYOU Creators come on the podcast? You're like, no, can Kelly come on the podcast? So I think when I look back, there were so many things that I'm like, okay, this is what I believe makes a personal brand. A lot of people think, it's just showing up on social media.
You know, when I started as well, trying to work on my personal branding, which was a bit late, I got triggered by an event. So I was speaking at an event.
Yeah.
And then it was in Atlantis, the Palm. And I went off stage, and when everybody comes to talk to you, and there was this Emirati gentleman, and he came to me. He said, I looked at Instagram, I didn't find you. I looked on Snapchat, I didn't find you. I looked here, where are you? I said, I'm here. He said, no, this is not enough. You should let many people know what you do, because you did amazing, and you should not limit it here. And this was like, boom, it ticked in my mind. I mean, I say hello to him as well, Omar Boussaidi. Probably you know him as well. He's an author and he's an amazing gentleman. So he was the one that, got me to think. And then I started looking at personal branding, and I found a beautiful definition of personal branding. I think Jeff Bezos said it. He said, your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room.
Absolutely.
So if today I ask Kelly to identify what are the elements that create a personal brand for a person, what are these elements?
Do you mean in terms of their brand values, or do you mean more in what are the things that make up their brand? Like what should they be doing?
What are the things that make up their brand, personal brand? Like, is it the look? Is it the logo? What are these elements?
So it's a great question, because I think I mentioned there, people think, I've set up LinkedIn. So my personal brand is done. And it's so much more. And I always go, okay, let's start at the beginning, audit, where you are, who are you, are you even out there online? Because this is the thing. People will go, if you're not online, then they won't take you credible. If you're only online and you're not anywhere else and nothing matches, then equally there's inconsistency. So I always say you've got to start with, who are you and what do you want to be known for? And people find that really hard.
It is hard.
Because the piece of going, but I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and how do we bring it all together? And that's where I would come in and go, but we can bring it together in this story, and we can bring it together here, and we can do this, and we can do that. Because people go, what should I post on social media? That's generally where people go. And I'm like, back up. Let's start here with the strategy of going, well, what do you want to be known as? When you're out the room, what do you want people to say? Oh, she's amazing at creating first impressions, or she's amazing at speaking, or whatever it is. So I always say start with the strategy. We've got to start with that, because you can't create content before you do that. And then from there, it moves into style. So having spent 15 years in the styling and fashion industry, absolutely the package. I just Googled it. Marketing, Coca-Cola spent... And I just Googled it. What was it? Something like $5 million in 2021 on marketing a product. You're a product. So how are you marketing yourselves? And your packaging, like Coca-Cola bottle and the color and everything, is what you wear. It's your hair, it's the accessories, it's your glasses, it's your makeup, it's all of that. But another aspect of the personal brand style that people really underestimate is they have the clothes and they look the part. And then they walk into the room, and then they go, hi. And their vocal style doesn't match the brand style. So style is actually not just one element. And then from style, we go to social media, stationery. So that's where you would touch on your logo, your brand. Is there consistency in that? Absolutely. Into your, then into social. Then speaking is a huge part in terms of thought leadership, spotlight, writing blogs, articles. So these
it's a lot of things.
There's more than just one. And I think, and it's got to be consistent. Like, it's not like, oh, hey, I've just set up my website, I'm done.
So you believe it should be everywhere, it should be the same person. Like, if you see on LinkedIn, you should see the same person on Instagram. You should see the same person in other locations, right?
And I think other platforms offer a different insight into who someone is. Because I think LinkedIn, sure, it's a bit more professional. Is there a space for personal? Absolutely. So more and more people are sharing sort of personal content on it.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say a platform like Instagram or TikTok, Instagram stories even is a great place to maybe be a bit more open, and people feel quite comfortable with that because it's only 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's funny this, 24 hours? Oh, I
In
can
and
say
out.
this.
Yeah.
But it does give you a chance, and it's where I would share my gym, and you see me at 5:30 in the morning and there's no makeup on, and
You're
it's
an early riser.
I love it. But I think that's using the platforms to showcase who you are, but people can get a different insight into you based on that platform as well.
Yeah, you mentioned something related to your story. How important, we hear a lot about storytelling, but how important to bring your personal story? I know in personal branding, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the expert, it's very important to focus on your uniqueness, unique self. Is that why you called it BrandYOU Creators?
Yeah,
because
it's all about you, 100%.
The you.
People find it really uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I don't think people find it uncomfortable. I think from my own experience, I had this, confusion between bringing my real self and my real story, and then as well having this professional persona. So people do not want to mix the two together. And I think it's a misconception that why not bringing myself to my story, because it's me, it's my experience, it's my life, it's my everything that make me this businesswoman or this entrepreneur. So do you face this challenge with the business leaders or entrepreneurs
because
when
they don't know how to do it, and that's the uniqueness, because there's no one like you ever been created, nor will ever be created with your experiences. So in the rise of AI now, and your ChatGPT and whatever else, where people can just quickly 2 minutes write something, by adding in that personal story. So I believe storytelling underpins everything that I mentioned when it comes to strategy, your style, social. You need to be able to tell stories in social. When it comes to your stationery, these are all my, this is my framework. In your, why is my website black and white and yellow? Because there's a story with that, because my book is yellow.
Lemon,
exactly. And it's quite unisex, and I speak in corporate, it's not just feminine, so there's so much more in it. It needed something international. So all of the pieces have a storytelling is part of all of them, and that's what makes you.
If someone today, an entrepreneur or someone who wants genuinely to start working on developing their personal brand, where should they start from? If someone is listening to us today, what is the starting point? Because really it takes courage to put yourself out there, and not many people have this courage. Where should they start from?
I think a huge piece is, what do you want? Why are you doing it? I think connecting with the why. Because some of the clients come to me, one client, for example, Barbara, came to me because she lost her job. So her why of working on her personal brand and her strategy at the time was to find a job. Another person I've worked with has been, do you know what, I want to get better at my storytelling, and I want to be more confident and inspire my team. Okay, so if that's what you want to work on with your personal brand, then there's a strategy for that. Someone else might be a new business owner and go, okay, I've just completely changed my career and I'm starting from scratch. So I now need to put my whole self out there because no one knows I'm an interior designer, or no one knows that I'm a personal trainer. And then you've got other people that go, I want board level. So I've got clients that are really senior that want to then go on next steps board. But what is their skill sets? Why do they stand out? Why should they be selected? And that's where then you need to think about your personal brand for that. So you've got to understand, why are you doing it? That's always where I would say start.
Very interesting. Another question comes to mind is that people want to show up their real self, their authentic self. And at the same time, this authentic self needs, I would say, revamping or beautification, or, a little bit of not aesthetic work, but it needs a different packaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it okay people show up, their brand without makeup or without properly, appearance, or, you know what I mean? Did you understand my question?
Yeah, but I think it depends on your industry. So I totally get what you're saying. And I think one of so interesting, let's step back. Showing up unapologetically you.
Yeah, authentic you.
Authentically
but
you.
At the same time, you need to really have the right appearance, the right look, the right professionalism,
Depends
professional
on your
image.
industry. So the most asked ChatGPT question with personal branding in 2024 was, how do I show up authentically?
Ah, nice.
And that for me has sparked a whole piece of content, an event that I'm doing, and so much beyond that, because authenticity, being you unapologetically, is huge.
Yeah.
So absolutely, how do you do it and where do you do it? And I think it goes back to, who are you? So if you're a PT, for example, and you're building a personal training business, you done up with makeup on all the time, it doesn't align with the brand. So I think, first of all, it's got to be, who are you again, and what's your purpose for doing it? Do people need a bit of a makeover at times? Absolutely, because I think it helps with confidence.
Yeah.
I think people get stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
So that's why style for me is straight after strategy. What's your goals? Okay, this is what I want to aim for. Okay, what's that package going to look like? And for many people, one of the first thing they need to do is go and get photographs done.
Yeah.
You know, if I said to, I actually just did a presentation earlier. I said, okay, room of 35 people. I said, hands up here, who could today send me 15 high resolution images that I could send to a magazine?
Yeah.
I would say 5 put their hand up. And then I said, sorry, I should have said in the last 12 months, because lots of people will have pictures from 10 years ago and go, and then you meet the person in real life and you're like, hang on a minute,
that's not the same.
Exactly. We age, like that's part and parcel. So there's got to be, I mean, we have many hairstyles. I mean, you've known me for 20 years.
Yeah.
You've seen
my
many
pink.
You've seen my many hairstyles,
Yeah.
but that's all part of your brand. And you know, clothing is a huge part of confidence as well, especially
I
when
agree.
maybe you're not fully, you know, you're not fully confident in your role and you're starting out because you're new. Clothing will help with that, a little bit of the armor in that space. So I would say showing up as you, and how do you do it? It comes down to telling stories. It comes down to being real. It comes down to not everything's perfect. And if you think about movies, so every movie that we watch, there's always the character's always got some flaw.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. So why is there the need always to show perfection online? And I look at some of the content that I share, and it's the ones that are the, oops, I did this, or, oh, behind the scenes I did this, or so-and-so said this, that has got the most views. And it's not about the views, but that's what resonates with
Authenticity,
the
once again,
most people.
your authentic self as a human. We see a lot of people confusing as well personal branding. For example, I give you an example. You see people that, you know, they are showing up as their personal brand, their mission, their vision, whatever they stand for, and then suddenly, let's say they are in the field of people development, and then suddenly they start talking about healthcare product and selling healthcare product. How can these kind of actions or, you know, behaviors damage your personal brand and impact this authenticity or impact this why that your brand stands for?
And I think that's the piece. It's got to go back to the why, because potentially as a business owner, health could be very important to you. It's one of my personal brand values. So there's got to be the education, and I think that's the whole part of why storytelling is so important. That if I went online, so I'm about to do a collaboration with a meal company, which works perfectly with my brand, because if anyone knows, they follow me on social media, know that I go to the gym 5 days a week, and that I'm looking at other ways to show up with more energy, so it makes it more natural, but because I've set the scene for that. So I think, yes, you can bring in different elements, but if you're just like, and today I'm selling this, like gummy bears or whatever, you know, it wouldn't make sense on the health piece. So I think whenever you're introducing something, the authenticity piece, there's got to be a story that backs that up. There's got to be that reason why, rather than one day I'm doing this and another day doing that.
It has to align.
Absolutely.
Do you see other mistakes entrepreneurs are making when it comes to personal branding?
Oh, they get so into it in the beginning and then tumbleweed. And you don't hear anything, and then they lose it, and then they're like, go back into it. And I like to say that your personal brand is a little bit like a long-term savings account, and the compound interest is the consistency you put in.
Consistency,
Because people will be like, oh wow, you're doing amazing, like I've seen this, and I've been at it 20 years, but people don't always notice the the other piece, the 10,000 hours or the reps that you've been putting in behind the scenes, and you are doing it. And I think that's a huge piece where people really underestimate the consistency, because it isn't an overnight. For few people, going viral is an overnight success. The rest of them, they're in it 5 years.
Even those who go viral, they need to consistently continue,
Absolutely.
otherwise they will drop. And we see it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it is hard work.
But I think a lot of that is also down to repositioning on how you think about it. So I've got clients that are like, oh, I've got to post content. Whereas I like to say, but you're marketing. So what you're doing is, instead of going, oh, I've got to post content, it's, I'm so fortunate I get to market my business to 50 people. Because that's another thing. People go, oh yeah, but only 30 people viewed it. Well, imagine you were in a room with 30 people.
Exactly.
When I started marketing my business, we were using fax machines.
Yeah.
You know, it was different. And I get that. Wasn't as competitive, it's much more competitive, but we've got social media and we've got so much more that can help. So I think a huge part is reframing. An exercise I love doing with clients is creating their dream week. So what does your dream week look like? What are you in control of and what are you not in control of? Because this is part of your personal brand. Your personal brand is how you show up. If you're showing up grumpy, then there's something that's not right. So how can I help you not be grumpy?
So you do work as well, not only on the brand, but the mindset behind that brand.
Absolutely. Because it's you. Like, ultimately, I want to show up that whenever you meet someone, people have got great things to say about you. And what I wouldn't want them to go is, oh wow, she's so tired or she's so stressed because she hasn't got this or that right and she's overwhelmed and she's this and she's this.
Yeah.
What's the piece that we need to change or improve in order for that to be to enhance the first impression?
Yeah. You know what's my favorite compliment someone can tell me when I meet them for the first time?
What is that?
When they tell me, oh my God, you're the same as on Instagram as in person.
I love that too.
This is kind of a quality check for me, that what I'm doing is really aligned with me as a person, as my authentic me, because I really don't want to lose identity. And we see a lot of people, once they start and they become famous or they become really happening online on socials, they lose track of who they are. So I think this is very important, to always go back to the self, to you. Who are you? What do you stand for? And when people meet you, they shouldn't feel the huge difference, you know, as who you are on social media. What you talk about is the same tone of voice that you talk about in your real life. And as well, this was, I have to admit, this was a if you want, a false belief for me, that I shouldn't share my personal things on socials. So I tried for a very long time not to share things related to my personal life or my day-to-day. I still struggle. I have to admit that. I don't share a lot about my personal on social. And this goes back to my false belief. But I truly think that people will connect with you more the more they see you as a human in real life. So how much we should divulge or disclose of our real life, of our authentic life, or our personal on social media? What is your advice to me and to the people who have the same dilemma as me?
I think it varies depending on person. And I don't think there is one piece, like it's 15% of what you share should be about X, Y, and Z, because some people overshare, but that's part of their personal brand. Other people don't share anything, but I think there's got to be an element where there's the relatability piece. Whether that's, you know, for example, some people really don't like sharing pictures of their children. I understand that. So that, you know, I get that, but that doesn't mean that you can't mention that you're a mum. And I always remember Sarah Blakely. She doesn't post her children, the founder of Spanx. She does it, she's now sold out. She doesn't post her children, or very often, but you'll see her in her car going, oh my God, I forgot the kids' lunchboxes, so I had to go back. And you get a bit of the other side, that it doesn't necessarily need to be, you're human. So there's no right or wrong answer, because some people go, I'm going to share a little bit. And then, do you know what? They get more confident.
And they're like, start sharing more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me to share personal things was rare. You know, 10 years ago, whereas I've got more confident about it. For example, maybe only in the last 3 years did I open up about being married before. And, there was a lot of people then went, oh, I didn't know that you had. And, I talked a
True,
little
I
bit.
heard about this on a podcast. I was like, oh, really? How come I didn't know?
Yeah, but because I had never really, but the amount of people that messaged me afterwards where I had shared something and they were like, wow, I've gone through the same. I didn't know there's light at the end of the tunnel. That, that it relates to so many people and you can inspire them. You don't have to have the answers for them. But if you're just one chapter ahead of someone, you give them inspiration.
Yeah.
Give them something that they can go, do you know what? I'm in a dark place right now. But I was in a dark place and that person's got through it.
Yeah.
So there's light there.
Yeah.
And I think if
relatable thing.
Yeah, if you can give that to someone, it's amazing.
Another thing as well, I find people from my conversation with entrepreneurs and the people I coach, they find difficulties balancing their personal brand with their company brand. So you have people who, let's say, they work for healthcare, doctors, or you have people who work for, real estate or different sort of industries, and they want to brand themselves, they want to have their personal brand, but as well they have difficulties balancing their personal brand with their company brand.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
So it depends on how open the company is to that as well, because some companies, and I would say more and more now, are embracing employees' personal brand, because at the end of the day, it's the employees that get more reach on social media than the company brand.
Yes.
If they are sharing content, they are the thought leader within the business. And it's much more than the employee going, hey, look at me. It's about what's their leadership style? How are they retaining talent? Wow, this is a company I'd love to come and work for. It looks fun. It looks like they invest in their team or they invest in their personal development. So I think there's so much more than, an employee is going to get headhunted by someone else. No, the only reason they're going to be headhunted by someone else and leave is because they're not happy where they are and the opportunities there. It's cheaper, I should say, to keep an employee within a business and support them and nurture them than have to go out and do the retalent.
Yeah.
So rehire. So the whole piece on the personal brand is visibility within the team. It's not even about what am I putting out on social media. It's, how are you leaving a legacy on the team that are more junior?
Yeah. But there is another as well, talking to, HR sometimes in organization, there is another thing that they worry about, that this person is not representing the brand in the right professional manner. So you have some organization that they don't allow their team to post on social media anything related to their companies. And
there is.
So there is as well this other challenge.
But that should be a conversation
for another podcast.
Absolutely. But even the HR team, if they're not who should be representing them online, then they shouldn't be in the business at all.
Yeah, should not have been hired.
Yeah, or have a conversation and going, do you know what, you're not showing up in this way, or we expect this of you, and have that realignment session. Because if you're not going out on social media, I'm not comfortable with who's hiring, then they shouldn't be part of the team.
Yeah. We see this changing a lot. There is a lot of talk
better.
about, it's getting really better, and a lot of talk about personal branding. And you see some companies now, they're actually training their team to show up and to show their brand. What is actually in it for them? In terms of, in the corporate world, we talk about ROI. Investing in your personal brand as an individual, what is your return on investment? Because you have to invest time, efforts, and sometimes money to shoot the right photos, to buy the right, outfit, and all of this. What is the return on investment on a person, for a person? What is the return on investment for an organization if they invest in helping their team show up and develop their personal branding, specifically the leadership suite and the C-suite?
So let's go with the people.
Yeah.
So for people, why should they invest? It's not being overlooked for positions, for opportunities. I think the days of, I'd rather my work speaks volumes than anyone else. So I'd rather people just find out about me. And that, unfortunately, now is the slow burn to success, because there's
Moi.
because the problem is there's people that are less qualified than you. There's people that have got less experience, but they might be a little bit more vocal or have a little bit of a clearer strategy, and they're getting picked for the opportunities. They're getting the promotion.
Yeah.
So the ROI can be anything from being in a role you like, than the one you're in, promotion.
Yeah.
That could have financial rewards. That could have even doing something, an initiative. Like one of the things that I work with clients is helping them come up with initiatives that they're passionate about, but they can bring into the business, whether that's mentorship that's pro bono for other departments,
Yeah.
or a book club, or charity work, something like that is part of your personal brand. And sure, we're in it to so we can earn money and so we can live, but there's so much more to life than just the money aspect, that we're doing something on purpose. So there's so many things from the person piece.
Yeah.
When it,
For me, it's another false belief is that I want my work to show my
oh yeah, I
capability.
hear that a lot.
Yeah. So
especially in this
it
region.
didn't work. And honestly, Kelly, I've been doing what I'm doing for, a very long time. And I opened my company in 2013. And even my parents didn't know what I'm doing. So I was working, and I'm very grateful. Work was happening organically due to connections and all of that. And I had a good reputation in the field, alhamdulillah. But once I started my personal branding exercise and I started working on that, you cannot imagine how much the hike, it just picked up super quickly. And I was like, oh my God, I lost so much time trying to push myself to take the step to do personal branding. So if you have a message to send to the people that were like me, holding themselves back, saying, no, I want my work to show what I do, I'm not into social media, some people, they have these beliefs in them. What do you have to tell them to encourage them to show up and go out there?
Oh, it could be as simple as Nike's slogan, just do it.
Just do it.
And that sounds a bit of a cop-out in that way, because there's so many things, like you say, the beliefs that you have and the thoughts. But the only person that's stopping you get what you want in life is you. And when people go, well, I haven't got that promotion, why? You've got to look at that in introspection piece of going, why have I not got it? Or why have I not got enough clients? Or why am I not doing this? And you can see the holes soon.
I see people they tell me, so I try to use this, phrase with them. They tell me, I don't want to show off. So I started explaining the difference between showing off and showcasing your capability. When you showcase what you can do, what you know, what you have to offer, is not showing off, So,
and leading with value.
Yeah.
Because I think when you turn around content to be not, hey, look at me, and
look how great I am.
But look at how can you deliver a value piece on that. I'm really proud of my team. We worked on this initiative and we've grown by 15%. It's not like, hey, I came up with this idea and I did this and I did that. No, it's a team effort. Sport.
Yeah.
One of my clients a couple of years ago grew her LinkedIn by 524% in 12 months. She increased her sales by 40% during that time. And she was very anti-social media, but we went all in connections on social media of LinkedIn. That was the only platform.
Yeah.
So from there, what she realized was that it wasn't just about showcasing her. So she's a great storyteller. So she would take a picture of a client or something she was at, and it wouldn't just be her, it would be her and someone else. And then she'd write this really creative story about why she's doing business with them, or why they first met, or how they first met. And it was so organic, and it grew.
Yeah, it's amazing. So now we spoke about the individual, the ROI. What about for companies, for corporate? What is the return on investment? How can leaders building their personal brand impact the growth of the company?
I think there's a few aspects in that. I think one obvious one is you're a great place to work.
Yeah.
And there's encouragement in that, because we're encouraging our teams to talk, collaborate, speak, whatever it is. But I think I mentioned a little bit earlier about the retaining talent. And if you're retaining talent as a business, it's cheaper to retain the talent than keep going out and having to do a massive recruitment drive because you're losing people. So I think that's a huge piece in there as well. And nurturing people to grow within the business and their beliefs and their values, and to continue that through. And then again, you only need to be one chapter ahead to be inspiring or supporting someone else that's one chapter behind you. That's it.
Yeah, and I think as well there is a huge value in acting as a role model.
Yes.
To show up, to, because all those people looking at you and your team, how you're showing up on socials and how you are as a brand, it can inspire them as well to follow the same path.
Massively.
We talk a lot in my training programs. I talk a lot about the importance of building your social capital. This is a very important thing for leaders, because now you want to do a meeting with someone, you just go on Google and Google them. You want to recruit someone, you go and Google them. So it's very important as well to build your social capital, because it adds value for you, your exposure, who you are, what you did. How can personal branding as well play a huge role in building your social capital and your network as well? Or is it vice versa? Is your network build your personal brand, or once you have a personal brand, your network will grow automatically?
I think it goes hand in hand.
Okay.
I would say, because I think there's other aspects to personal brand building other than social to be seen as building that capital, and it's being that person of expertise. So the media will contact you, or can you write an article, or can you come and speak on this panel? The more of these things you do, the more then it builds up. Oh wow, they really are. It's the perception that other people have of you, going, wow, they're on that stage.
You see you busy all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that all you need to be doing is sharing content, for example, but posting, I spoke at this event, or I was here at this, and people are like, wow, you're doing amazing. Oh, we need to hire that person. I see her everywhere. She's doing so well. And that in turn, it goes back to the compound interest. It's not just an overnight. You keep doing that, that will build the capital in what you do. Practicing the videos, practicing speaking. A coach told me years ago, if you want to be a professionally paid speaker, you need to be speaking 4 times a month. And I was like, what? 4 times a month? Like, where am I going to get 4 times a month? And it's interesting when you start asking yourself different questions, you get a different answer.
Yeah.
And if you keep going same thing, I think it's a Tony Robbins quote actually. And from that then, I created so many opportunities for myself that builds into your credibility, because people go, wow, you're so confident at speaking. Yeah, but I've been doing it 10 years or 20 years and I've been building on that. And that's when then the ROI goes, yeah, but $5, $10, $15, $25,000 can then come in for the ROI financial of that.
Yeah, but networking is very important. Like I see as well so many people working a lot online.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're not really putting that effort behind the scene or offline to go and network, to go to events. So can this impact as well your personal brand if you are not putting efforts on your PR and networking and going out there to meet people and to participate and to be engaged in other events?
Yes, but I would say, what kind of networking? Because I don't think networking always needs to be come to this women's networking event.
Yeah.
I think you can network through sport.
So how would you select? How would you know?
Yeah, I would look at the other, because I hate traditional networking. I really...
You know where my question is coming from.
I really hate small talk. I find it just everyone, hi, what do you do? How long have you been in Dubai? So if I ever find myself in these situations, there's always different questions that I will ask to get different answers.
Yeah.
But I would always say that don't look at the traditional methods and find a sport. Maybe take up paddle.
Yeah.
I mean, my first client 20 years ago came through someone who I played hockey with. That was my first client through sport. It might be I picked up a new client because she saw me at a charity event. And she was like, I saw you there, then I've come to your event, now I've booked a service with you. So I think you can network in ways that maybe are more aligned to you than going and standing in a room going, I hope no one speaks to me. I don't want to do the small talk type thing. But equally, I love speed networking. I think that's a great way to meet people, because if you're like, not really very sure, they
Then
move
you
on
move on.
quickly.
Yeah.
But equally, if there's someone that you really connect with, you can go back to afterwards.
You touch upon a very interesting topic that we discussed it last week in a training program I was delivering, and we were talking about how some brands actually they are having a social purpose, or they are whether encouraging sustainability, or working with people of determination, or encouraging diversity. So as a personal brand, does this add value when you are supporting a cause? I know you are big on charity, and you support the Sparkle Foundation,
Well
right?
remembered, yeah.
Of course, I do my homework.
I love it.
So do you encourage people who are working on their personal brand as well to add this element to their personal branding, to have a social purpose as well added to their personal brand? How can this help people, and is it necessary?
I think if it's forced, then I would say no.
Yeah.
I think
It shows when it's forced.
Absolutely. But I think there's a huge element in we're here for more than just working.
Yeah.
We're here to help people. We're here to align ourselves with things that we really enjoy doing. And I think that if you've got a platform, if you know more than one person, then you've got a voice, and you should use your voice, which is your personal brand, to share why you like doing something. And I think from there, you connect with other people. It's just so... I would say, like, one of the most rewarding things that in the last couple of... I would say in the last, 10 years of awards that I won was... And it wasn't even an award, it was an appreciation certificate I got from the Sparkle Foundation. I loved it. Loved it. Because there's so much more. I've been to Malawi, there's the personal connection, and for someone that I don't have my own children, so how children are so important to the next generation of education and just everything. So where and how can you do that? And I really believe it's our responsibility to use our voice to support others. And how you do that, it's got to be something that you feel personally connected to as well.
And aligned to your brand value, as we said. So how important is to really identify your brand value when you decide to create this brand me?
Massively. Because I think that goes back to the strategy piece, the very beginning. What are your personal brand values? So one of my personal brand values is inspire people to action. If I can inspire a younger generation, that's going to have a ripple effect for many years to come. And that's what I think. But for other people, it might be, I want to do this because, my mum went through cancer, or it might be, I want to do this because I never got the opportunity to play sport, or there's so many things, and it just brings so much more to you as a person to then go out, and it's then less about the networking. That just happens by chance. It's just from that, you're doing good in the world. And I think that's where we should all be.
Beautiful. One of the purpose of our podcast is to share the learning from the people who are creating lasting impressions around them. And today you shared with us a lot of tips. And we hope through this podcast, your voice and your tips can reach as many people. But as well, we want to give you an opportunity to wish for more for yourself. So we have this tradition, and we invite you to imagine with us this lamp, and a genie will come out of this lamp and ask you, Kelly, wish for 3 wishes that are going to help you create more and more lasting impressions around you.
Wow.
What would be those 3 wishes?
Wow. So one of my wishes would be, I would love people to see the magic in themselves. I think that so many people lack confidence, and they hold themselves back. And if they could just see what I see, then that would be amazing. If everyone could have that little secret gift of going, this is what I see, this is what you bring to the world. I don't know. Maybe that would have a ripple effect. I would also...
Your second wish.
books have had a profound impact on me. And I believe everyone has a book in them. So maybe the wish could be that everyone kind of writes their own book before they pass over.
Yeah.
And that then is a bit of a legacy that's left. Legacy. But it's
If I could write a book, anybody could write a book.
Likewise.
Say that.
My English teacher told me that I couldn't even sit higher English.
You know, I'm not English speaker. Even like English is my third language. So I always tell people, if I could write a book in English, anybody could write it.
So I think everyone's got a book in them. And how cool would that be to read people's stories, to pass that down to children, because the whole thing is after one generation, people don't remember you. I mean, it's as much as what we want. One generation on, who's Auntie Kelly? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen, but a book is there and going, oh yeah, that is something that could be passed on. And what else? What would be my third wish? Does anyone say to have 10 more wishes?
3. When you start going deep and wishing, I think to reach number 3 is difficult sometimes.
Absolutely. And then you go, I don't want to
be greedy.
Yeah. There was a really interesting story, and I wonder if I can find the link of the story about the genie. Maybe you know about it, where he gave 3 brothers.
Yeah.
Each of them a wish. Do you know it?
Yeah, vaguely. I've heard it.
One asked for wealth, and one asked for someone else, and one
I'll look
asked
for it and I'll add it in the link.
Yeah, and one asked for the invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
And then the one that was the happiest was the one with that could live their life and go on, which is quite ironic in personal branding.
Yeah. So what is your third wish?
My third wish would be...
It can be something simple. It can be something you wish for your days to go on as, I don't know.
I would even say sometimes, I would say a wish, and this would maybe even come back through my husband and probably link to the first one, because it's quite interesting that I can see the magic in other people. But I think my husband would say the other way. I think I would love to see how he sees me.
Oh, nice.
Because I think that there's that way of, we all have moments of doubt and self, can we do that? And that's normal. But I think sometimes those closest to us see us in a different way, going, you can absolutely do that. And to see that would maybe empower you to be even more unstoppable. Who knows?
How beautiful. Wow. You need to make him listen to this episode. This can be very beneficial.
Did we mention this was about therapy as well? Relationship podcast too.
Some people, they tell me, are you coaching me?
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about personal branding. I would like to talk a little bit about Kelly, but I would like to do it differently, in the style of a rapid fire question a bit. But you can answer with one sentence or one word. Yeah. So it's really up to you. I would like you to describe your personal brand in one word.
Inspire.
What is your go-to activity that, productivity hack?
Gym.
Whoa, I see you very active.
Love it.
How long has your journey started?
5 years maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, but and again, it's the consistency piece in that. I wasn't as consistent. Now, they say the health needs to become part of your lifestyle, and it doesn't. It so is true that it becomes part of just who you are. And I now don't think that, my alarm's going off at 4:30 in the morning. I don't need to lay my clothes out anymore, because it's just I get up and I get on with it, and I love it because I know the benefits.
Yeah, I've learned a framework, if you allow me to share with you, and this really helped me as well in my personal brand and to show up the best version of myself. I learned it from a professor I really respect, Tal bin Shahar, and he talks about the SPIRE model of well-being. So how important to have your spiritual well-being, your connection to a higher force. And your physical well-being is very important. Your intellectual well-being is very important. Your relationship well-being. And last, is your emotional well-being.
Wow.
So you really need all of these elements to be able to show up the best version of yourself and really to allow your brand to shine. I learned this as well, and I try to apply it. I know it's a journey, and we always try to work on ourselves and to develop. Sometimes we have some relapses, life priorities comes, and take over. But it's very important to have some, framework we can follow and keep us on track.
Absolutely.
One item from your clothing that you cannot live without.
Item of my clothing. If you'd said one item full stop, I'd have gone for my lip gloss. Because,
clothing.
Yeah, but clothing-wise, I'd probably say a good pair of trainers.
Nice.
Because you can wear them to the gym, but also you wear them with a, trouser suit or something like that. So I'd probably say that's not clothing, footwear. Does that work?
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Ooh.
You're doing dry January now, I know.
I am. Yeah, God, you really have done your homework. What is my favorite way to unwind? You'll laugh, but my husband's shoulder.
Oh,
honestly,
he must listen to this podcast.
It's hilarious because he's been away on business, and I said to him, I don't know what's wrong, and I said, take it as a compliment, but I just need to go in and just kind of put my head. I fall asleep on him all the time,
Oh.
and he's been away on business for a week. Oh my God, I'm awake, I'm doing things. It's so different.
Yeah.
So there must be something about his energy or aura that makes me want to fall asleep.
It's just love, Kelly. It's just love.
But no, I would say the unwind piece is, it's being home. It's music for me. I hate silence. So always, as soon as I come in, Sonos on. I love music in every room. I like the same song in every room.
What's your favorite music style?
Oh, I'm very much kind of easygoing, chill out, just anything that's easygoing, to be honest. I recently, I like quite a lot of the jazz songs that are now classics, but they've
remix them.
Yeah, I love
jazz.
chill out. Yeah, so anything.
If you could master one skill that you don't have, what would be that skill?
I get distracted. I get distracted, and I'll go in one room and start tidying it, and then I'll go into another room, and then I'll forget that I was tidying that and be starting on something else. So, or I'm packing, or I'm unpacking, or doing something. So I would say I could just get better at the distraction. And one of the things that I'm really focused on, or trying to focus on, is the one touch. So when you touch something, you only touch it once.
That's a nice technique.
Yeah, if there's a pair of shoes at the front door, don't move them to the bottom of the stairs and then to the top.
Move them where they should go.
Done.
Yeah.
And that for me is helping the one touch theory.
My phone is my distraction. Does your phone distract you?
Yeah, it does. But I'm getting better at putting it in another room.
Yeah, I got a phone jail. I'll show it to you after we finish.
Oh, wow.
I phone jail with the timer, actually. So I put it sometimes when I have to focus on one task. I put my phone there and I don't touch it unless I finish the task.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
You're
wow.
so welcome. It's so nice to come here and be part of your journey. And after all these years, I love it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. One last thing we have as well. It's another tradition on the podcast. One of the guests before you, random, it's not the actual episode that was before your episode, left for you a message under this cover. It's a message or a quote or a question. I'm not sure what is it. So if you would like to read it, and you will have to leave a message for the next person after you.
We are all what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. What is one habit that has helped you towards excellence? Ooh, that's a great question.
Nice question.
One habit that has helped you towards excellence. Ooh, that is good. Have you ever read Atomic Habits? You
No.
must. Oh, have you not read this
No.
book? Oh, so good. And I love the his analogy on if you're creating new habits, you put it before one habit that you do already. And I think, I take my vitamins every single morning. But the reason is I do it because I love my protein shake. And I will not do anything. I will put that in before I do my protein shake. Before I do that, I know I need to take my vitamins. So little things like that. But I would say one habit for me is definitely mastering the 5 a.m. club. I just...
Robin Sharma.
Yeah. I've been a huge part of that, but I never got it consistently.
Yeah.
I'd say it's only been in the last 3 years.
You are an early riser.
Yeah, but I'm also an early bedder.
Yeah.
Don't ask
Early
me to
bedder.
go out at 9:30 at night. No.
You sleep at 9.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm sleeping by 9 or 9:30. I even sometimes go to bed at 8:30, and I love it. Love it.
So we will not keep you longer so you can go and get ready to bed.
Yeah, by 5 o'clock, I'm already going, right, okay.
It was beautiful having you here.
nice.
Thank you so much for all these tips.
Brilliant.
So thank you as well for our audience and for the people who are watching us or listening to us. I hope this episode gave you plenty of tips. If you like the episode, subscribe, like, and share. And we will be sharing as well Kelly's links so you can connect with her. Thank you so
Amazing.
much, Kelly. Good to
Thank
have you with us.